Hi, folks. Now let's talk a little bit about my role. So, as you all know, the Chapter Health Manager is a new role that started this year. So, I want to tell you a little bit about what I do, what I've started in this role, and how it really connects to the overall envisionment of Chapter Health. So, to start, let's talk a little bit about the anonymous feedback form. So, on OPA Portal, for all of our active members, we now have an anonymous feedback form, and it holds two purposes. One, to make sure that if something is happening within chapter, and they feel like they don't know who to go to, they have that form. So then it's a red flag for us as chapter health team to then reach out and figure out what's going on. And if it is anonymous and they don't want us to contact them, we can then contact the exec board to then get a little bit more information about maybe what's going on and help put out any fires that might be happening behind the scenes. Two, it actually serves as a way for us to get feedback on the chapter health team to make sure that we're constantly engaging with our chapters the way they would prefer. And if they have feedback for us, that we're actually taking it, absorbing it, and getting better over time as we're trying to engage with them and make their chapters sustainable. I also want to highlight our officer report form. This looks a little different. It's now for all of our officers on exec board from one form, and it's tailored for each of their positions. So, for example, our vice president, they might have questions relating to chapter standards board, while our membership directors might have questions relating to recruitment and then to the new members' experience getting their education and the whole process with that. So that goes live the 15th of every month so that they are able to give us an update on what's happening. This includes all chapters, so whether endangered or not, everyone is expected to do this monthly report. Next, let's talk a little bit about the monthly workshops for chapters. So, we started a new monthly lesson, and the bulk of it is called Healthy Hives, a guide to building strong chapters. So in chapter health, we like to call all of the chapters hives because we want them to be filled with honey and sweetness, and they're going to be busy bees that are really out here changing the world. And so to do that, they need to be healthy hives. So these workshops are monthly lessons, and each one has a different theme that's tailored to the needs that we're really seeing that active chapters might need. So, for example, for August, the theme was a successful semester toolkit. This made sure to prepare them everything they needed to start their semester off right. So, for example, in the presentation, talking about how they can utilize strategies of project management to really get ahead and prep for the semester coming. And then also, when we highlight the monthly lesson, we also pin some forms, documents that we think will be really, really helpful for them as they're trying to get in this mindset. So, for example, for August, we pinned the exec board retreat planning guide that I created so that all of our chapters know the proper way to have an exec board retreat, what can be included, and our suggested layout of that event. We also included managing expectations presentations. As everyone knows, it can be a little challenging balancing being a leader, a sister, and a student. So how can you manage those expectations? We included a presentation to hopefully make it a little bit easier for them. Whereas in October, the monthly lesson was Keys to Success, Active Alumni Engagement. So if you're an active watching this, we got a lot of feedback that you guys really weren't certain of how to engage with alumni or even where to start. So this was really helpful for you. And if you're an alumni watching, we got a lot of feedback that your active chapters weren't reaching out to you. We dug a little deeper. We found out they really weren't certain how, and so they didn't. And so we wanted to bridge this gap. And to do that, we focused on it in a monthly lesson. So in this video, I did more of a laid back approach. We had an actual tea time with Taylor session, gave them some advice on how to engage with actives and alumni, that engagement and what it can look like, and also encouraged them to take the first step and to reach out to all of their alumni. And then we also pinned a lot of documents that we thought were super helpful. So for example, I created a Founders Day celebration guide. It really gives them some concrete examples of what they can do and for how grand of a scale. So if it's a 1-year Founders Day, if it's a 10, a 25, what they can do and how that varies is all listed in that document. So it's super helpful and will allow for them to really plan a great Founders Day event. We also penned an alumni engagement guide that I created, so then it allows for them to know and have some concrete examples of how to engage with alumni, since that can be really scary when you're trying to take that first step. And it focuses in on our pillars. So how can we engage with our alumni service-wise, through leadership, and then through friendship and sisterhood. Next, we talk about finding our lost alumni service project guide. This was a collaborative effort with Alexa Forbes, our national service director, and Alyssa Bernhardt, our managing director. They created this project guide that active chapters can make their members of the sorority project and try and get that contact information for some of the alumni who have graduated and lost touch. That way, we can make sure we are constantly and forever in connection with our sisters. So it's a really great project, not only for the chapter, but also for us at a national organization. We want to always be connected to you all so we can connect you with any opportunities, make sure you're okay, and also be there for you. And then lastly, our national team guide. This is something that we updated to make sure it really reflected all of the new positions, the shaping of how it goes, everyone's contact information, and also any expertise that they have, so that if any active chapter would like to request a presentation from us, they already know who they're requesting from. It makes it a little bit easier for them, and they know what we can do, so it really helps connect us and builds a little bridge. Lastly, I want to highlight the What's New in HQ. So this is a monthly newsletter that I started to send out to all of our exec boards for all of our active chapters. So I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to show you 2 of the What's New in HQs. First, I'm going to show you August. So as you can see, this one starts with our Healthy Hives, a guide to building strong chapters. It always is going to start with a monthly lesson. And then it goes in and it highlights important things for them to know for the month. So Officer Leadership Academy. If you didn't know, I'll talk a little bit about this as well, but we had our first programming event titled Officer Leadership Academy that really focused on giving specific training to all of our officers. Part of that, we needed them to come, so we promoted it really heavily to get them to register and to attend the event. Next, just reminder of the monthly chapter reports, how they're due the 15th of each month. If you're active watching this, don't forget. We also highlighted about the payment plan for dues, Golden Chevron, our anonymous feedback form. If folks need social media guidance, reminding them of merchandising best practices, announcements on OPA portal. I post those the first of each month, as well as send out this newsletter just to constantly remind them of what's upcoming and what's important to be on their radar. Tea Time with Taylor. So Tea Time with Taylor is actually my office hours. I hold them weekly. They take place every Tuesday, 5 to 8 p.m. And it's just a built-in time that if chapters need to meet with me, they know they can set up an appointment on my Calendly link. We also promoted the recruitment assistant application. And then also if they were interested in planning for 2024 convention, since we were hot off of 2022 convention and we just got back and they were excited and eager, we wanted to also highlight them. And then every month we also show key dates for that semester. So this is always sent out to them as well. Next, I would love to show you the October one, the most recent one, and show what's been put on there, the monthly lesson. So let's dive into that one. So this one, as you can see, festive. I love Halloween. So this one, due dates for October for the monthly lesson. keys to success, active alumni engagement, as I mentioned, new things to know. At Chapter Health, as I mentioned, we did chapter recruitment check-ins, so we're doing those now. Wanted to give them a heads up. Hosting accessible events, OPA 101, how that's been updated, new chapter inductions. We're trying to really encourage and promote for our active chapters to really support and wrap their arms around our new chapters that are coming in, which is so exciting. And so we want to encourage them to attend, to maybe purchase items off of their wish list, to send them letters, to make them feel welcome and loved as they're coming into this OPA family. We talked about chapter gifts. So that is something that we also are doing this semester. We're getting each chapter that sign up a chapter gift. And so it's things that are practical usage that they can utilize to build and grow their chapter. So having things such as a pull wagon that they can utilize whenever having to lug around a lot of recruitment things or service things. I know everyone remembers having to carry a ton of heavy things across campus for recruitment or for a really big service event. So that's something super practical that everyone can utilize. We also did some banners if they wanted that, OPA flags if they just needed like more things, like for bid day, for example, to really make people excited to be there. That was something that could be utilized. If they needed big wooden letters, that was also something, since we know some chapters don't have those. And so all of those were just some of the gifts that chapters could get. Next, we can focus in on the planning guides. So this is actually something that is a really big part of my role. So I create planning guides for events and then also anything that might be needed. So as I mentioned earlier with the monthly lessons, for those, I create those guides, and then also for any specific events. So like the Founders Day one that I mentioned, but also the formal planning guide I created and the bid day planning guide. I'm still in the process of creating even more. Each month I do more, just so it's easier for actives to be actives and students. It can be really difficult, especially with COVID. They did not have the same framework that a lot of us did. It's different when you're just reading something that's in a how-to document and it's like, okay, that's totally fine, compared to in past years when you're reading it, but then the past officer was right there in chapter with you and you can go to them in person and get that kind of support. That has been lost. So having these planning guides is super, super helpful to really rebuilding that back up and giving them a really good foundation to start from. And then important reminders, always encouraging them to join the Slack. If you're an active member and you're watching this and you're not on the Slack, join now. Thank you. The monthly chapter reports, payment plans, anonymous feedback form, all of these great things. So this is the What's New in HQ. These go out on the first of every month, and it's really a tool for them so that they know what is going on. So this is some of the things that I've started in my role. And I hope to continue and keep blossoming out as I try and make it easier for actives to be a part of this organization, to learn from each other, to have fun, and to find their forever people. So yeah, that's my role as chapter health manager.